All right, on this episode of Bouts Talking Bouts, happy to be talking to an individual who's getting ready for a huge performance tonight. I've got Big Mike Elgin on the program. How's it going there, man?
It's going pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm just wondering the familiarity here with the arena. Is this like a newer endeavor for you, or you've been here a few times at this point? What are your thoughts on Don Kolov Arena?
I've been here a few times for Destiny Wrestling, and I love the building, and the fans here are great, so I think tonight's going to be something special.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems like there's that melding of like the shooter style with kind of like some of the modern high-flying sort of aspects. Do you think that confluence is key in being a worker nowadays?
I think it depends. I think the beauty about professional wrestling is individuality as well. So I think that's super important. And with the landscape of the world, with mixed martial arts so big and just combat sports in general, I do think the mixture of that definitely helps pro wrestling. But as I said, I think when there's people that don't necessarily have that hybrid style, it adds to that individuality, which helps with people, have people support them and just kind of have a different viewpoint, so not everything's the same.
And how important is it to be with a company that seems to have such a strong rapport with the Canadian audience? Like, it seems like the Canadian crowd really gets fired up for Impact Wrestling.
For me, I think it's great. Growing up in the Canadian system and being in Ontario for many years before I broke out, I think it's awesome. And to come home is always great. And to see so many people that I remember watching me as a young kid wrestling, I think it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember seeing a bunch of shows back in the day at the Oshawa Legion Hall and stuff like that. How important was that sort of GCW phase and sort of wrestling all the guys that would come through, like guys like Johnny Devine and like Rhino and certain competitors like that?
I think that was vital to my career. I think that those matchups and the people that were so far advanced compared to me really helped groom me to the wrestler I am today and brought me to a company like Impact.
Those fans were kind of rude, though. They were calling you Fat Matt Hardy a couple of times from what my memory serves.
Yeah, I was a chubby kid, and I think that was fine because I was the bad guy. So whatever they needed to say to get me booed was fine.
Yeah, but to that point, like, when do you think the big switch was? Because it seems like the powerlifting is very important now, and it seems like there's like the regimented diet and stuff like that. When did you think there was that big turnaround in that sort of regard?
Really, the turnaround was the diet. I always powerlifted and was always, had strength on my side, but when you're younger, you don't realize how important diet is, and to be honest, I like food. Even now, it can be a struggle because I like to eat so much, but, I zoned in. I knew that where I wanted my career to be and where I wanted to go, and I knew that having the diet influenced me just as much as the working out did was super important.
Yeah, absolutely. And without getting into too much detail about the recent controversy, I'm just curious how cathartic it was to sort of get beyond all the legal issues and just kind of focus on professional wrestling and just like the passion and vigor that brings you to perform out here and whatnot.
Unfortunately, stuff like that happens in life, but I'm glad that, I was able to right a wrong, and it sucks that I had to take it to the courts, but I felt that was the only way to kind of get, justice for myself and the truth out there. But now that it's all taken care of, I think it's good, and Impact's home, and I've been doing great here, so I'm happy.
And to that point, it seems like you've been wrestling around a fair bit, like Impact Wrestling, obviously Ring of Honor, New Japan. Are there any promotions on the bucket list, like any organizations you just really love to work for at some point?
There's nothing much left. I'm excited for going out to Big Japan and wrestling Sakimoto next month, but other than that, man, I'm having a blast here at Impact, and I want to call it home for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess an extension of that, do you have any dream opponents or any guys you'd love to get in there with and just learn from a little bit?
The big dream opponent I really had was Sakimoto, and as I said, that's coming up in a month, so, I'm pretty good. I just like to get in that ring, and hopefully I can be one of those guys that other people aspire to wrestle and want to get in the ring with and learn from me. So I think I like that more so now than really having my own dream opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great place to be and everything like that. And what are your thoughts on your opponent for tonight's card?
I'm teaming up with Willie Mack, and we've had a little bit of a past, but the winner of this mashup tag tournament wrestles each other, and then that winner gets a world title shot. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm the uncrowned champion, so I got to do what I got to do.
Absolutely, and you've been great with the time. Really appreciate it. I'm curious if there's anything you want to add as a parting thought as we're wrapping up here, Mike.
Just keep supporting Impact Wrestling, everybody that's listening to this, because, I call it home and so many talented wrestlers call it home. So keep supporting us, and I promise you that every time I'm on your TV screen, I'm going to work as hard as I can to give you the best match possible. And I think that I've been doing that so far, and the rest of the roster is motivated too, so just keep supporting us.
Yeah, for sure, man. I've been a fan for a while, and I had a roommate at one point who I showed that Kenny Omega ladder match to, and it kind of got him back into like the wrestling fold and everything like that. So a lot of people really appreciate what you put out there.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. As I said, this is a long-time dream come true for me, being able to wrestle at this high level for Impact Wrestling. And anybody that I can influence to get back into wrestling, that means a lot to me because I've been a fan my whole life.
Awesome. Thanks for the time, Mike.
No problem. Thank you.